all you Splinterheads, welcome back. Thanks for dropping by. I'm Bronze Dragon, and I'm here to tell you I do appreciate your time. Thanks for clicking on my video. I put out a video yesterday, and the main topic was increasing the strength of your new deck. It's aimed at people who are new to the game. So I wanted to get across the idea of price versus value, that you didn't necessarily have to spend a lot of money to get a strong playing card to add to your deck. And I put it out, and I did not really mean that video to be an all-encompassing, kind of guide. I just meant that as a little snippet of, to direct people on where to get good value of cards. And it was mainly centered around the prior two or three editions of rewards cards, because they're very good value, price for value, right? So, but I had a couple comments on the video afterwards from some subscribers. So shout out to Vozina and Icebird. Now, Icebird had pointed out that Tidebiter was a very good card as well. And if you look at it, it is. And I didn't say it was a bad one. Favored the others over it. I do use it from time to time. And as Tidebiter is one of those ones that starts out a little bit weak at first, but as it levels up, it gets stronger. And as Icebird had pointed out, it gets Reflection Shield at higher levels and is good in the Blast rule set. So I just wanted to get that out there. And also, this video is kind of made off of Vozina's point about summoners. Now, I probably should have opened up talking about summoners, because frankly, summoners is what you build your whole deck around. When you start out, you have to get summoners first, really, and then kind of structure what you buy to fill out your deck around those summoners. Or at least that's what I did. So, it's not the only way to do it, but that's the most logical way I saw. So, Vozina had pointed out that especially the Chaos Summoners at this point in time are very have a very high value to cost ratio. In other words, they're cheap, but they're for the most part, most of them are good playing cards, right? So I wanted to jump back on here, and I wanted to. This is probably not going to be as long as last night's, but I wanted to point out that if you go into the marketplace and you sort by Chaos Legion and then by Summoner, you can see the Chaos Legion Summoners here sprinkled in with the Riftwatcher Summoners. Now, several of the Riftwatcher Summoners are also very good choices as well, but they start going up in price, and they're 2 or 3 times what the Chaos Legion Summoners are. So if we look at the Chaos Legion Summoners here, we have General Sloan, we have Tarsa, Thaddeus Brood, Obsidian, Kelia Frendel, and also Quix the Devious. Okay, there are a few others that are not in the main set, but are also like the higher end ones: Conqueror Jasik, Grandmaster Wraith. Also very good cards, but you see the price starts going up. You really have to step back and you have to ask yourself how much money you want to spend. Okay, so if I'm going to say, is Tarsa better than Grandmaster or Conqueror Jasik? No, Conqueror Jasik is better, but he's 12 times the cost, right? More than 12 times the cost. So you kind of have to look at it and figure out how much you want to spend. So I'm going in it from a newcomer's perspective, and I'm trying to advise people what to kind of start filling your deck out with as you're getting into the game. You want to start out, you want to strengthen your deck. So what I would advise is sticking with the lower end summoners for now. Okay. And then as you go along and you go along in the game, then kind of you can figure out, do you want to spend the money on the more expensive summoners? That's what I'd say. Of course, to each his own. But let's look at the main summoners within Chaos Legion. We'll start off with the cheapest one, General Sloan. He's +1 to range. He is generally considered the weakest of them all. I don't use General Sloan. and I wouldn't really advise the use of him. In certain specific situations, he's good, but overall, he's pretty weak, the weakest of the bunch. Okay, Tarsa, next cheapest, pretty good overall. 75 cents a BCX, gets +1 to melee and +1 to health, right? Red has pretty strong, at this point, red is fire is pretty good across the board, except for magic. I think it's still pretty weak in magic, but ranged and melee, pretty good. Thaddeus Brood, a little bit more in price, gives -1 to magic and -1 to health. Also pretty strong. Okay, also pretty strong. You're playing this primarily when you see somebody you come up against that plays a lot of magic, right? Obviously, because you're going anti-magic there. Next up, probably the top 3 of Chaos Legion would be Obsidian, Kelia, and Quix the Devious. Okay. Well, a lot of this is arguable, and I'm kind of leaving these other ones out, but Conqueror Jasek, also very good. Possibilist the Wise, a lot of people have put out strategies for them. I still haven't found a really good strategy for using Possibilist. These are also on the high end. I have found a lot of utility, and I'm glad I bought into Quix the Devious. Okay, so very strong overall dragon card, and if you're going to buy one of the higher end cards to start off with, I would probably go with Quix. There's strong arguments between going with Conqueror Jasek, because if you went with Conqueror Jasek, you would not have to really buy Tarsa if you didn't want to for fire. But at the same time, Tarsa comes in at 4 mana, and Conqueror Jasek is at 6, so it's a little bit more expensive to cast, a little bit harder to get out in a low mana match. So if you're starting out, you're probably better off with the lower mana cost. You got a couple more mana to play around with in your hand. But Quix the Devious, very strong choice. Gives you a dragon card as well. The offside is it's more expensive. Now, easily of the bunch, I think that Kelia Frindle is considered the strongest of the normal summoners, if you will. Gets +1 speed, +1 shield. Okay, there's a lot of good. Water went through a transformation when we went into Chaos Legion. Water was pretty much a magic-heavy color, and going into Chaos Legion became a melee-heavy color. So we can talk about that in future videos, but I would say, if anything, you're going to want to make sure that you get a Kelia. You're probably going to want to make sure you get an Obsidian. Obsidian comes in with +1 magic. This splinter is filled out with a lot of magic heavy cards, which in the previous generations, if you go back through, was primarily melee and big tanks and things like this. But in Chaos Legion, green brings a lot of magic to the game, right? So I think if you're starting off, the best choice is to go with Kelia, Obsidian, Tarsa, Thaddeus Brood. And then really, I've got to go outside Chaos Legion for life. Okay, so I primarily play a little bit older of. I play Mother Kayla. Okay, she's a little bit cheaper to get out. She gives +1 to life across all the monsters or your monsters. But it's also, since it's one of the older ones in Untamed, it's also going to be one of those ones that falls off and is excluded from the modern format, because when the next set comes out, then that set will fall off. Okay, Untamed. So let's go back to summoners. So I think I would really have to go with Ilthane over General Sloan currently if I'm starting out, right? I know it's 4 or 5 times the cost, right? And you really just have to look at what you're wanting to spend, but it's so much better of a card than what General Sloan is. So there's that. Now, what we're talking about is the Rift Watchers summoners, which we're looking at Aquatis, Skargor, Thispa, Fernheart, Ilthane. Okay, and you also have these others up here as well. These are all considered part of the Chaos Legion summoners, but once again, they're also the higher priced ones. So Immortalitas, Lily, we talked about Quix, Astral Entity, Conqueror Jasek, Grandmaster Wraith. These are all very good cards, but the offsetting thing here is you have to have a higher mana match to get them out because they cost you 2 extra mana than the normal ones. Okay, so I guess my argument is Ilthane over General Sloan. I do like Skargor. I do think it's a slightly better card than Tarsa, but for the cost, I still say if you're starting out, go with Tarsa. I haven't found very good strategies for Dalian yet, or Aquatis. Thispa, good card. Fernheart, good card. Ilthane, good card. These are also, these are all slightly more expensive than the Chaos Legion ones. So I guess my main point is take a look at them and figure out which way you're going to go, because when you choose your summoner, you're pretty much choosing how you're going to start filling out that color with cards. Okay, so for example, if I choose Fernheart, who gives +1 life and +1 to all friendly all friendly monsters receive close range ability at the start of the battle, then I'm going to start filling out that splinter with ranged monsters. Versus if I choose Obsidian for the green splinter, then I'm going to start filling it out with magic monsters, right? So you see my point there. So I guess that was my major point. And I also wanted to bring this out. This is kind of like a lessons learned. Okay, obviously, we all don't have enough money to just go in and buy max copies of everything. However, I wanted to show the value of these cards at this current point. Okay, and I'm self-admittedly going to tell you that Tarsa, 75 cents per BCX, when it first came out, I spent $15 per copy, and I bought several copies. Okay, Kelia, same kind of thing, because when it originally came out, there was very low supply, but there was a lot of demand. Okay, so, and there's several other instances where I paid a lot of money for these just to be able to play them, and now they're very low priced. So there's very good value there. Or play value. So I would encourage you to go ahead and get your summoners if you're first starting out. Now, the other lesson learned I will tell you is that, as we know, let's go back to look at leagues. If you don't know, this is basically, if you go into your league, say you're in bronze, okay, it will tell you here what the maximum level cards you can play. Okay, so this in bronze, your maximum level summoners are, if it's common summoner, 3, if it's rare, it's 2, epic 2, legendary 1. So the Chaos Legion summoners we're looking at are rares. So the max for bronze is 2. And then that dictates the other level of cards you can play as well. So in bronze, all your level cards are 1. Okay, but when you step up to silver, you have level 4 rare summoners you can use, and then your cards go up in level. So you can have a level 4 summoner, and then you can cast level 3 commons, level 2 rares, level 2 epics, and level 1 legendaries. Okay, so this makes a lot of difference when you're trying to fill out your cards and figuring out what level to buy them at. So sometimes when you find a deal, say you're shooting for playing in silver, sometimes you might find a deal on a level 5 common. But in silver, you're only going to use it to level 3. So you got to decide, well, I'm going to spend that little bit extra money, get that good deal, and be prepared for the future whenever I level up higher, or do I just want to spend enough money to buy a level 3? I'm here to tell you that you can save money overall in the big picture of playing by just trying to find deals on higher level cards. And that specifically, I wanted to point out, is true with summoners that we were talking about. Okay. Now, I would encourage everyone that's starting out, even if you're just in bronze, to think about silver. Because if you're going to be serious about the game and start playing, you'll be out of bronze soon. Okay? So when you start looking at summoners, I would encourage you to think about just buying level 4 summoners. And here's my reasoning. If you can go in to the market and find a deal on a level 4 summoner, you will pay much lower per BCX than buying them all singles. I know it's easier to bite off and buy singles at a time, but whenever you step back a couple months later and see what you've spent by just buying singles, you'll wish you had just bought a level 4 or a level 6 summoner. Okay, down the road, because in the big picture it saves you a lot of money. So I guess that's the main point. Lesson learned from me, because I did a lot of them singles, and at this point I'm looking for deals on the marketplace when I buy a new card. Sometimes I go for max level cards. Obviously when you're talking about summoners, a max level card is pretty expensive, but if you're serious about the game, they'll be there and you can play them. At a certain point, they go out of modern and go into wild, but they'll still be playable, right? And you can always sell them, trade them around for different other summoners. So I guess that was my main point. I wanted to get across the point that the summoners now, especially in Chaos Legion, very good deals. You can get in and you can get a level 4 summoner for $21. Okay. And I'm here to tell you that when these first came out, I paid $15 for 1 BCX. So I don't even want to think about what I paid to get it to up to level 4, at that point in time, right? So I'll leave it at that. Please leave your comments and questions if you have some ideas or for future videos. I might go into the rest of Chaos Legion at a later point in time, because there are some good Chaos Legion, good value cards. They're a little bit more expensive than the rewards cards we were talking in the last video, but still very good value. And by and large, the majority of Chaos Legion set is a very good play set, very good value as far as strengthening your deck. So if you found this information helpful to yourself, please give me a like and subscribe. And once again, thanks for stopping by. I've been Bronze Dragon. I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy, and I will see you on the flip side.